for me, it's the simple thing. So I have a gratitude journal that I write in most, not every, but most mornings. And when I wake up in the morning and the sun pours through my bedroom window and I breathe in and I look outside the farm and I just think I am so lucky about where I live and the opportunities I can create for myself. And it's that yes, the situation and the setup and the land and the sunshine coming through my window, but it's also knowing, the believing in myself that I can make anything possible. That is a moment of magic.
That's magical. Thank you so much for sharing.
Okay, so I'm going to tell a really quick story and then that'll lead to my answer. So when my two older boys were about 4 and 5, I took them to a hip hop dance class, like a co-ed hip hop dance class. And they did it, and they were, they tried hard, and they were, terrible. They did not have a natural capacity for dancing. And I was watching behind this glass window and recording it. And did I break up there for a moment? Do I need to start over?
Yeah, my internet is a bit crappy today. Sometimes it's the downside of living on an island where the internet can just be wonky, but
it's all right. So
I can still hear you, so I think it's okay. It's just sometimes the camera freezes a little bit, but audio is okay. So I think we can deal with that.
Got it. Thank you everybody for understanding. Yes, of course. Technical difficulties. So I went to this dance class. I recorded them on my phone, and I came home and I showed my husband. And I had this moment, this epiphany, because in the video, you could see the reflection in the glass of my face. And my face was like this. I had just this like giant light, like lit up smile watching my boy dance. And I thought to myself, wow, I need to find more things that make my face look like that. And I don't think these guys have a future in dance. So I don't think it's going to be more dance classes for them. But I love to dance, and I had stopped dancing at like 13. So at the time, I think I was 40. So this was like 27 years later. Wow. And so I found a place, and I was living in Los Angeles at the time. So I found a place in Hollywood that it was a really like well-known studio for dances, but they did have a beginner hip hop dance class for adults. Now, mind you, adults, I say that loosely because I was twice the age of every single person in the room.
Imagine.
And 3 times the age of some people. So I would go in my yoga outfit. These guys are wearing like baggy hip hop clothes, like a ton of clothes. I was like, I will die of heat exhaustion if I have to wear all those clothes. So I look like I'm ready for like a Pilates class. And everybody else is like looking like they're just too cool for school, and they're really good, and their brains still communicate effectively with their bodies. And so they can do this stuff. And my brain is still just like, oh, shoot, I want to do it so badly. But I would leave these classes, and there was a big glass wall, and there were all these benches outside, and there were a lot of moms in their jeans and their cute outfits and done up with their hair on their phones or chatting, sitting outside waiting to pick up their kids from this dance class. And I just thought, you know what? No matter how well I think I did in the class, I loved it. It filled me up. And at least I'm on that side of the glass, and I'm not sitting on this side anymore.
Oh goodness. I'm very intentional on creating joy, because I also feel that when we're living in joy and kind of appreciation in the present moment, we become master manifestors, and that's how we're going to really pull in more of what we desire in life. You have to be feeling good. When you're feeling like down and low, you're not energetically open to receiving things, really, right? And so, but it's when you're light and you're happy and life is not always light and happy, let's be honest. But when we are in those states, things do seem to flow a little bit more easily and magnetically, right? So for me, I do try to really intentionally start my day with a morning routine by myself, to just get that little bit of peace and quiet, have my coffee, journal out my thoughts kind of for the day, my intentions, gratitude, that sort of thing. And then I have my kids first thing in the morning. I'm making breakfast and lunch with them. And that's just a fun part of the day. We play music and they're in the kitchen. And it's just such a nice way to have connection time before the rush and the crazy starts. And then they get off to their day and we start ours here. Both my husband and I are entrepreneurs and work from home. And then throughout the day, it's finding little ways to boost your mood, to boost your energy, find the good. If it's, having, like I said, a break to maybe just sit out in the sun and have a cup of tea or coffee or water, to take a walk around the block, to break things up. Like movement for me really raises my vibration, and I love walking. So I mean, walking it can be a 15-minute walk. It doesn't, we get really all or nothing sometimes, I think. And so, for me, it's like, I just want to get some sun on my body and go walk around the block. Like it takes 15 minutes and it's not a huge disruptor, but it adds a lot of value. And I'm big on, again, quality time. So once I'm done work for the day, I'm done. My laptop closes and I don't open it. I spend time with my family. I see some friends maybe in the evening. I do something with my husband. I'm always looking for the things that make me feel good. And the more that I focus on that, the more the other stuff seems to take care of itself. It's strange, but true. And I feel like you don't understand it until you actually live through that. And when your day is like scheduled around joy, it just feels so much better.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, I love that. I think exactly like you said, those things that, might be a bit more tricky, they just kind of take care of themselves because you feel good. So you have
they slide off
better
your
energy
back,
to tackle more difficult things, isn't it?
Right.
Oh goodness. Well, for one thing, I've got a kitten running in the room as we're speaking. So just, having something that is unexpected every day. Do something that takes you out of your routine, because it's so easy for life to be just on repeat. Oh, today looks just like yesterday and yesterday looks like every day the week before. Yeah. But when we are intentional about doing something novel, something different, even if it's something as ridiculous as, well, you know what, tonight I'm going to serve dinner for breakfast and breakfast for dinner, something, and granted, I don't usually do that sort of thing, but if you are really looking for some way just to add novelty, to make life less boring and more fun, more unpredictable, many of us need a little bit of a change of scenery, even if it's just a change of emotional scenery, to feel like there is still magic happening in our life. So create some of that joy. Do something unusual. It can be big, it can be small, but do something that just makes your eyes light up with joy, no matter what it may be.
What the first thing that came to my mind is, so it's summery and lovely here in England. We get like 5 days of summer. It's all very exciting. So as you can see, I'm in my summer dress, so we're enjoying it. And so I think for me, the magic at the moment is being kind of lovingly strong with myself to make sure that I have these 5 minutes of time in my day where I take myself out into the garden, put my feet in the grass, and I just sit in the sunshine with my glass of water or my cup of tea, and I just be still, because I think for me sunshine just brings magic to me. But I think also it's been so important to me to make that space, and that space to kind of come back to myself and check in with my own capacity, because in a different way, I spend all day working with parents and giving and holding space for them, and it's similar to kind of being a mum, which is like people need something of you all the time, so we're always taking care of everybody else's capacity, and in order to do that most effectively we need to take care of our own. And I really believe in walking what I teach as well. So for me, what brings me magic is making sure that I'm really like lovingly strict with myself about like, nope, I'm going to take 5 minutes before that to-do list is going to be there, and it will always be there. It just gets longer. I put things on when I tick things off. To take that time and sit with my feet in the grass, my face in the sun, and take some deep breaths. Just remind my nervous system to reset and relax. That's what brings me magic at the moment.
I love that. That's beautiful. And enjoy the British summer, which is going to be
Thank
short,
you.
but make the most of it.
We do make the most of it. We all get very excited over here when it gets sunny.
I love that. I love that question. And actually, I can tie it into some science. So something, I think, finding magic, when you asked me that question, I thought of, my son's laugh, and just embracing those moments, being there and being present in those moments every day where, my son loves, he's a toddler, so he loves playing, hide and seek or chase, and just, the giggles. I'm glad when I'm able to drink in those moments and really be present and not be distracted by other things that I have to do. I think that's really magical. But related to that, I work with a lot of the clients that I work with, or patients that I work with, stress management is really important, because we find how stress is really impacting their health. And something I learned this from Brene Brown. I don't know if you've read any. Yeah. So she talks about, it's in one of her older books, but she talks about play, and how leaving time for play, and some moment of just timelessness, just enjoyment, nothing, you're not checking off any box necessarily, or accomplishing any tasks, but you're just enjoying life for the sake of enjoyment. I think is one can be beneficial for us health wise too, but in our emotional and spiritual health as well. So
I love playfulness. It's one of the best things, really. And especially when we have little kids, we have that opportunity to be playful with them, because they are so funny at that young age. But even if we don't have kids in that age, they're older, I think play is very important.
Well, I already talked about my husband's butt, so I'll go on to another one in that little game. One of the things that brings magic to our day is, I think, because I'm a night owl and he's a morning person, I'm in charge of intimacy at night, and he's in charge of intimacy in the morning. So in the morning, like this cup of tea, he brought me this cup of tea. I'm not a morning person. I'm a little bit slow to go. He usually wakes up before me. And at night, he's just exhausted, and he just is like, a zombie. If I'm expecting him to be, even just affectionate with me at night, it's like, why? It's not happening. And so instead of getting upset about those things, we now just embrace it. And so at night, one of the magic parts of my everyday day is that when we go to sleep, I spoon up to him, and I put, my hand on the top of his head and the other hand on his butt, and I scratch both. We call it butt scratch o'clock. And he loves it. It's its favorite thing ever. And for me, acts of service is my love language. And so when I wake up and I'm sitting here and I'm just getting started, and he comes in and offers me a cup of tea, and look at this, he brings me not just a cup of tea in the thermos, but he knows it's going to be too hot initially. And so he puts some in a cup that it'll cool down.
Those little things, huh?
Right. Or he'll plunk my cell phone in at night. So finding out what each other's love languages are and doing some of those as a habit, so that, foreplay is 24/7, so that you're regularly reminding each other of that you are a couple, and that you do love each other, and you are there for each other, and you are attracted to each other. And that doesn't just happen. That is something that gets nourished, because chemically speaking, you got 2 years from when you meet someone until the chemicals go away, right?
Okay.
And then it is actually something that you are generating, you are practicing, you are stirring up.
Yeah. I love
so that's
that.
my magic for the day, butt scratch o'clock.
Yeah.
Tea.
Yeah, that sounds really magical. Definitely.
So when I wake up in the morning, I have this little mantra that today I get to make lemons, or today I get to make lemonade out of lemons. That's kind of the mindset I wake up with, and I go into my little gratitude practice. And so magic for me is just the excitement of, you know, what the day holds, right? That wasn't always how it was for me. Um, you know, there are times where you wake up, you know, dreading the day, and how can magic possibly happen when you're walking into that kind of energy or frequency, right? So what brings me magic is just waking up, being grateful for, you know, my husband laying next to me and my three boys, and how, you know, who do I get to impact today? How do I get to change, you know, potentially change someone's life? For me, it's the impact. Impact is what drives me. And sometimes that impact, you know, Anne, is just as little as a smile when you're walking down the street. You know, it doesn't, I mean, a stage like yours is amazing, right? Because what you're doing impacts lives. And when the invitation was made to join you, I was like, yes, 100%, absolutely. So there can be more formal moments where impact is possible, but there's also thousands and thousands of moments in a day where impact is ready to be had. And that all comes to being present, right? Being present in the moment. And so those are the things that bring magic for me.
What brings magic to my day? My initial reaction is I do. If that
Love it. Yeah.
I think that for so long I expected magic or, you know, joy or just life in general to happen to me. And I have learned that when I want magic and when I want joy, it's my responsibility to create that joy and to, you know, switch off the overachieving for a little bit and allow myself to feel joy, allow myself to do things that make me feel like me again. So some days it is reading outside. Some days it is listening to music and dancing in the kitchen while I'm, you know, washing dishes. Some days it is, you know, switching everything off, tackling my daughter on the couch and, you know, snuggling there and really allowing myself, again, the word allowing myself, allowing myself to just be and not necessarily do. I think that's where the magic happens.
That's an incredible question. And again, I think it's super important. What brings magic to my day? For me, it's knowing that regardless of what I have going on in my life, regardless of if I'm navigating through a season of darkness at that time, I know that my purpose is so much greater than me. I need to get up and make my contribution for my spouse, for my children, as well as the people that I'm called to lead. So all of that's the magic that really fuels me every single day, is knowing that my purpose is so much greater than me.
Love that.
What brings magic to my day is really, at the end of the day, really to kind of like tune into the silence around me when my children are asleep, and just reflecting in terms of how the day has been, and in terms of enjoying my cup of oat milk and just reading some of the things that I want to catch up with. So I think that brings me that joy to kind of like slow down and just reflect how has the day been, and just think about what else I want to do, whether in terms of being a person and being a parent. And I actually also have like a deck of cards that I use, like affirmation cards. Okay, I don't know if you can see, it's opposite. Yeah, that I use in terms of in the day reflection in terms of my own journey as a parent, being mindful, So I do have this as part of my own
Yeah, they're beautiful.
reflection as well. Yeah.